All right, so now I'd like to give you just a little short case history so you can kind of get a feel for this business. This is Caryn. She's a young lady that she spent a lot of time going to school, and when she finished her schooling, she had all the degrees she ever wanted, but she had no money, and she had a lot of student debt. So she came to me to learn how to do it, and I just want you to make note of what she pays for the property at auction. And then she was a person that liked to rent them. I prefer to sell them to make cash flow, but she wanted to rent the property. And she's going to tell you a little bit about the auction, how many there were, how much she paid for it, and so on. And then we'll just do a brief little analytical thing on it so you kind of get the idea from the case history. So here's a video of Caryn. Here she is.
There are tons and tons of tax deed properties available here in the area that I live. Every month we probably go to the tax deed sales, and there's anywhere from 110 to 140 properties that they're putting up the tax deeds for sale. And that's exactly how I got this one right here behind me. I bought this for the tax deed for $11,000, ended up owning the property. I'm going to rent it out for $750 a month, so I'll have it completely paid off inside of 15 months. Even though somebody's already offered me $40,000 to buy it, I'm going to keep it as a rental property because I know in 3-4 years this house is going to be worth $80,000. And I like the sounds of $80,000 versus $40,000 in terms of my retirement.
Okay, now if you saw that whole video and you watched it all the way through, you now know that she only paid pennies for the property, and not only did she just pay penny for it, but she went ahead and rented it, and she makes money on her rental. So if you add it all up, she's going to get an 80% return on her money. 80% return first year on her money. Now that's a pretty powerful return on the first year on just such a small investment. Okay, now everybody doesn't have $11,000 like she had to invest in a property. So here's Chris. Now he started out, he actually challenged me. He said, Ted, can I really get in business for $100? From time to time, I'll say that to people. I'll say, look, you can get in this business for $100. Well, he didn't make it quite for the $100, but let's listen to his video. This is quite revealing.
I learned about tax liens from you many years ago. You came to Vancouver, you taught some people about tax liens, what they were, how they worked, and how us as Canadians could go down to the United States and invest in different tax lien properties and tax sale properties. And I got pretty excited about what I learned because I thought, well, this is something that I could do. There was not a huge investment required, and I actually invested in several properties, several different tax certificates, and it didn't take long before I got a phone call and I realized that actually I ended up owning some properties right at the very beginning. I don't know if it was beginner's luck or taking your course or doing what you taught me, but it worked out pretty exciting. And one of the first certificates I bought was this one right here, and the total certificate cost $132.50. And 2 months went by, and then I was mailed this piece of paper right here, which is actually the deed to the property. I actually ended up owning the property. This is a picture right here. What happened to me was I thought, well, I don't live there, and how can I do what you taught me to do, which is get rid of it really quickly? And so I went and knocked on the house next door, and this guy answered the door. His name was Kevin, and so I said, Kevin, what do you feel this property's worth? He said about $15,000. I said, would you take 10? He said, sure. And here we are shaking hands on a deal right there. And it didn't take long before I got another letter mailed to me, and it was for the deed to this property right here. The actual tax lien certificate cost about $2,000, and this particular property was worth over $100,000.
Okay, now there you have it. So he bought a property for $132 and he quickly sold it for $10,000. I don't know what you're going to get one for, but I'm just trying to give you examples here so you can kind of get a feel for what this business is all about. Now, these people are buying tax defaulted property or tax deeds, okay? All right, remember where we are. The government needs money, so the government will sell the property for the back taxes. That's why they're getting them so cheap, and when they buy them this cheap, there's no mortgage on the property. Now, this is a really perfect example. Now, this gentleman is now one of my coaches. He's done over 140 deals, now 140 transactions in the tax deed and the tax lien arena. Okay, so we're going to watch a video of him. This particular residential lot, he used our system, and what he did is he found the property online. He found it online. He went to the auction. Now, here's a video of him explaining it.
You know, I was fortunate that the second time I came to a tax sale in this county, I bought a lakefront lot, and I paid $3,700 for it, and I ended up selling it for $20,000.
When Bob and I were on that lot, I was videotaping him, and I asked him this question. I said, Bob, is this the best deal you ever made at a tax auction? Now, let me say what the question is again. Question was, Bob, is this the best deal you ever made at a tax auction? Listen to what he said. This could be you.
I'd have to say that the best a dollar for dollar deal I've ever done on a piece of land. It happened in Oklahoma. I went out to an outlying county and I bought a tax lien. The tax lien was on a 25-acre piece of land. The tax lien was only $67.12. You'd think that nobody would ever abandon a piece of land for that small of a tax bill, but things like that do happen. And guess what? Those people never did pay that tax. They never redeemed that tax lien, and I ended up getting the tax deed to that property. I eventually sold that piece of land for $22,500. It's not uncommon to make $10,000 or $20,000 off of a deal.
Okay, folks, you could be doing the same thing. You just have to learn how to do it. These are called tax deeds. Okay, now there's going to be over 5,000 tax defaulted auctions nationwide. Now here's a guy that's outside the United States. He lives outside and he wanted to buy online inside. So let's see what he has to say.
My name is Joe Ricards. I live in Kelowna, BC. I do creative real estate in Canada. Have been doing that for 20 years. I've purchased about $200,000 worth of other real estate courses over the span of about 7 to 10 years. Looking for the next big thing in real estate investing, looking for something better than I was doing in Canada. Well, TED's is one of the only systems I would say, especially as a Canadian, that he was very upfront that, okay, if you're going to do this, you're going to need to do it down in the States, as opposed to the US gurus coming up to Canada and saying, oh yeah, this works up here too. I found that not to be the case. So it was refreshing to know that what I'm getting is what I'm getting with TED. From TED's course, then I participated in the Pinellas County auction online and bought a property at my second auction in Clearwater Beach, in actually an area called Island Estates, which is a very prestigious area. And net, it's about a 40K profit flip. So that was my first deal.
Folks, the guy lives outside the United States and learned to buy inside the United States. Let me give you another example just like that. This woman lives outside the United States just as Joe did. Let's see how she did on her first deal, and she's going to do it online. I want to emphasize that she's doing it online. She found this property online. She purchased this property at an online auction, and I think you're going to find it astonishing that she made a 40% return her first year. So here she is.
My name's Deb Murphy, and we're up here in Kelowna, British Columbia. We just purchased this first property in January of this year. So it is in Florida, and there's the front of the property. We got it at a super price. It was like, I knew the price is what they were going for. So the area was selling very well, and we got it for less than half. We got it, I'd say, about 35 cents on the dollar, which is awesome for Florida. So we bought it for $24,600, and then what you get in the mail is you actually get the tax deed itself, straight from the county, and I'll sell it quickly for $50,000. That'd be a quick sale. I could possibly even get 55, 60. I chose this particular property because the lot itself that's situated in the park has a waterway, and it's an extra double lot. These are manufactured homes. It's an area where people come to holiday, so they own their real houses somewhere in the States or in Canada. Lots of Canadians go down into Florida. So these manufactured homes, they're very nice and they're perfect for vacation homes. I love Ted for the fact that he's book smart and he's street smart, and he's not afraid to say, like I'd said, before you buy a property, you have to know what your exit strategy is, and you have to know that it's workable, not just a fairy tale. Can you really sell it? And can you really rent it? So he's very strong on making you tell yourself the truth. That's worth its weight in gold.
Okay, every one of you would like to do the same thing, and you can do the same thing. It's just a matter of learning how. Now, we've been talking about tax deeds today. I'm going to finish up with just to show you one more, but I need to tell you this. People ask me, why are you doing this, Ted? I'm going to tell you why I'm doing it. Not only do I make a living doing this, and I could be retired at this point, but I've watched a lot of people, and my parents were that way. They never did anything with their money. They put it in the bank. They kept putting it in the bank, and I'm going to tell you, they died poor. They died poor because the money they had in the bank, Well, it was good that they saved, but unfortunately, they didn't have enough money to live on as they got older because the money was the government inflated the money and it didn't have any purchasing power. So you don't want that to happen to you. You want to start thinking how you're going to take care of your future. So let me show someone that's really taking care of their future, and you could be doing the same thing if you learn how. Okay, I said you could do it online. This gentleman did it completely online. Okay, now I'm going to show you two examples. And the first example, he's going to tell you a little bit about why he did it and how he's thinking about retirement, and he's going to show you then how he can do 1 or 2 deals a year and really make a good living.
I believe it was in this last November where they were advertising Ted's online courses. I jumped on it right away and got signed up. I attended approximately six online tax deed and tax lien sales in Washington, California, Arizona. I ended up purchasing one piece of property for $35,300, and it's assessed at $229,716. I've been searching for something to do after I retire from my day job, and this would fit in perfectly because I can do this from anywhere. I can do it from my house in Regina. I can do it online pretty much anywhere that I am. If I find deals like this, I could do this 3 times a year, or I could do it 2 times a year, and I'd be done. That would be my year's salary.
Okay, so I'm repeating a little bit now, but there's going to be 5,000 auctions this year. So in the next 12 months, you've got a chance to find the ones that you want to go to. So 5,000 this year. So this is my final case study for today, and this is Renee. And Renee learned this from me in Canada. He's from Vancouver, Canada, and he kept asking me in the classroom. I was in a big class. He kept asking, Ted, where should I go? Where should I go and buy these? So I said, why don't you go to Los Angeles and buy in Los Angeles? Now, let me review with you. I'll show you this booklet. Okay, so he went to this auction. There was this many properties available. And he bought a number of properties, but I'm not going to tell you what he did. You just watch this video, and he'll tell you, because he came back to tell the class later what he did. And here's his story.
My name's Renee. I now live in Vancouver.
So you looked at 100 properties, and you bought 5. Have I got the numbers right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, how much money did you invest in that investment?
Just over 83,000.
83,000. Okay. All right. What was the value of those 5 properties according to the tax detective?
1.1 million.
Wow. A little homework goes a long way, doesn't it?
It does. But what's most important is to follow the TED system, step by step. What the coaches tell you and what the people tell you. But when you take a new system, start by knowing the system. Don't try and be creative until you've mastered the system. And his system, fantastic. That's why I master it.
Ted, I have to tell you, when we heard about your system, the producers of this show said this sounds almost too good to be true. And they wanted to get an outside opinion from an attorney. So we contacted real estate expert, attorney, and the author of the New York Times bestseller, How Come That Idiot's Rich and I'm Not? Welcome now, Robert Sheeman. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Lynn, it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Now, Robert, Ted.Thomas has been telling us about tax certificate investing and how it is a government-backed program and totally legal. And we wanted to verify with an outside legal and real estate expert like yourself that what Ted is saying is true.
Well, it's not only for real, and it's not only absolutely true, but it's legal and it's statutory. It's not just out there as some investment. This is backed, approved, and written by state governments. This is how the governments collect their tax money when people don't pay their property taxes.
So is it safe to say that this is not a far-fetched get-rich-quick scheme and that tax certificates are a predictable, certain, and secure investment that is government-sponsored and backed up by property tax laws in each state?
That's right. They occur everywhere. wherever there's a property tax to be collected. They're legal, they work, the returns can be absolutely fantastic, and this is all for real.
Robert, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and sharing your expertise.